Muscle, Mindset, and Mission, the Amy Weglarz story. Today, we're going to be having Amy Weglarz. She's a certified personal trainer and nutritional coach. She highlights her mission in life to build strength, confidence, and sustainable, healthy practices for all people. We're going to set the tone today with Amy, and she's going to share how she turned her passion for health into purpose and how strength extends far beyond the gym. Let's chop it up. Amy, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be with us today. So we're definitely happy to have you here on Eagles Don't Quack. Let's get started. Tell us a little bit about Amy. Who is Amy Weglarz?
I was born in Illinois, about 45 minutes northwest of Chicago. So I am a Cubs fan. I am a Bulls fan. I'm a Blackhawks fan. I'm a Bears fan. I'm everything Chicago. But I have moved to North Carolina. I've been here about 14 years. Started off wanting to be a teacher, became a physical education and health teacher. Did that for a year in Illinois and then really wanted to move to warmer weather, which is why I got to North Carolina. And I love it here. And I taught for, I want to say 8 or 9 years here in the state. And then I transitioned into being a personal trainer and nutrition coach.
A little bit of history with Chicago. My sister actually lives in Chicago, and so I know the area pretty well. You mentioned that you were a teacher. What grades or what disciplines did you teach?
So I taught middle school throughout my whole teaching career. I taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, boys and girls, PE and health. And I'm very conscious about people calling it physical education or PE compared to gym. Gym is a location. It is not a class.
Yeah.
It was a location that I taught physical education in.
Are you the only child or you have siblings?
I have a younger sister who is about 3.5 years younger than me. She now lives in Alabama and is married. And we both played sports in high school, soccer and basketball.
So you were an athlete growing up. Tell us a little bit about, did you play in college or after high school, that was it for you?
So I would say not many people know this about me, but I loved basketball. Soccer was just fun, but I love basketball. I thought about playing in college, but I'm pretty small. You know, I'm 5'5".
Yeah.
Can shoot the ball, but you have to be pretty quick with your shot. You got to have a jump shot. I was kind of in the age of, I didn't really learn how to do a jump shot. And so I decided that I just wanted to go to college and party and have a good time. And I also officiated basketball and soccer at the time. So I became a D1 college soccer official. So and then a high school basketball official. And I made money and I did that and went to the bars and got a college degree. No, I did have fun, but I did get a college degree. And that's kind of what set me up to, I think I had more time to find my own fitness and find what was really true and passionate to me, because that's where I started going to the gym. That's where I found my passion for running, like 30 minutes, 40 minutes of running, just stress reliever, go out and run and get back to do some homework. So that's what I did in college. Yeah.
Well, I have to ask you this real quick. So is that a UNC cup that I see right there?
It is.
You got to turn that around. You got to turn that around.
I will do it for you.
I went to NC State. I can't look at that the whole interview. I'm sorry.
I thought you were going to notice it earlier.
You knew. Look. So, growing up, did you have aspirations to be a teacher, or once you got to college, that's something that you kind of settled into?
Interesting enough, I wanted to be a teacher like my whole life. Like, I don't know why. My parents were not teachers. And I said I want to be a teacher. And I think for me, it was trying to figure out what kind of teacher I wanted to be. And actually I had a really good conversation at the time. Was I a junior or senior in high school? And I had a conversation with my basketball coach about wanting to be a PE teacher. And he was a science teacher, I believe, maybe history. And he was like, I wouldn't do that. That field is kind of going down. And so I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I actually went into elementary education and decided that was not for me. Tying kids' shoes, being around snotty kids, not for me. So I then just said, you know what, my passion is PE. My passion is fitness, just helping kids in that realm. And I went for it, and I'm super thankful and happy that I did.
Yeah, well, we're definitely glad that you did. So I was going to ask you about your transition. So now you're going from education and being a teacher to fitness. How did that look for you? Were there any apprehensions? How did you get started? What was your motivating factor to push you to sell out for fitness?
Yes. I was on my 7th or 8th year teaching PE, and I did love it. But there's so many things about teaching, the politics, the meetings, the other stuff, not being around the kids, I didn't love. I ended up getting a a life coach, and worked with her for about 7 months. And we just dove into life things. Like, my number one thing was to just be a better person. And with that, we found that my time was really important to me. So time was like number one, like it kept coming up in conversations, and she was the one that brought it up. I really didn't have any idea that that was something that was so important to me. Just having her there, noticing that was great, because what happened was I had a friend who said, "Hey, you got to come try out this Camp Gladiator, this outdoor fitness thing. You got to come out." And I was like, "No, I go to the gym at 5:30 a.m. before school, get done at 7, quickly shower, and I'm with the kids by 7:45."
Mhm.
So that was kind of my everyday routine. And he's like, "No, just come out one time. I think you'd really love it." Finally, I went out and I was like, "I love this. This is really cool." So I started asking the trainers. So Camp Gladiator is an outdoor fitness community that works out outside. You can find locations in the Raleigh area, Durham area. You can also find them in 7 other different states. And I really enjoyed it and was like, "Hey, I've thought about being a personal trainer. What does this transition look like?"
Mhm.
And so I got connected with him, and he was able to kind of point me in the right direction. So what I did was I taught Camp Gladiator fitness. I became a personal trainer, and I taught classes 2 mornings a week and 2 nights. So I actually had a Tuesday, Thursday morning and a Tuesday, Thursday night. So I had 2 very long days. With that, I found, let's go back to having that coach, right? We talked about my time and how valuable it is, and how it was growing my business, and how it was getting these clients, and how it was really fun, and I was able to do what I wanted, but also really impact lives, right? I can impact a kid's life, but I don't see it, right? They go to 8th grade, or they go to high school, and I don't get to see what I've done unless they come back and talk to me, which I have, and I'm sure I've impacted, or at least hope that I've impacted some kids' lives. But with the personal training, I got to see it in a matter of weeks. And then, of course, long term, I had clients ended up staying with me for years. So I've gotten to see them grow, and it's really amazing. And so after about 8 months, she brought up to me, "Hey, it seems that you really love this. Have you thought about leaving teaching?" And I was like, "No, no, I haven't." And that question alone really put, "Can I do this? Are my parents going to kill me for leaving teaching
Right.
with a pension, with health insurance?" Right? That's where a lot of that comes from, is like going being an entrepreneur to leaving this 9 to 5 job. So it was a big step, but it was awesome. Like, when I told my principal, when I told my family, like, I felt awesome. I was so excited. I was like, I know what number I need to get to sustain this, make money yearly. It was great. It was hard. I've now moved on to having my own business. So I have just recently left Camp Gladiator, was there also for 8 years, and am doing my own personal training and nutrition business with Personal Training Amy W. That's my business. So now I've gone to working with them, which was a great transition into doing my own thing.
Yeah, being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of risk and reward. I've owned several companies since 1998. I'm an engineer by trade. And so I had about 200 employees. So along with that, there are some benefits and there are some risks, but the benefit definitely outweighs the risk. There's a freedom and autonomy that you have, that you're in control of your own destiny. So we were talking about fitness and your transition. There is along with the physical strength, there is a level of mental strength that you have to be in this space and just to exist as an entrepreneur. To you, Amy, what defines strength for you?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I took some time to think about this, but really it's the mindset, right? That is going to show up in the body. So is it lifting you through hard moments? It's not just lifting weights, right? Lifting weights can give you that mental toughness to get through life. And I say that to my clients. And then when you're training in the gym with a personal trainer, outdoors, lifting weights, running, whatever, that mental capacity learns to grow, learns to struggle, learns to not give up, especially when you're running and you're far from your house or biking. You got to get back. You got to get back.
Yes.
And that is the overall, like, what strength means to me. It's not just the physical, but definitely so much the mind behind it.
We have a very diverse listening audience. And for our listeners that's in a rural setting and they want to work out, they know they need movement in their life, what can you tell them, encourage them to get started? How do I get started? Where does that start for them?
I think that starts in your mindset. What does get started look for you? Do you want to do some more nutrition wise? Do you want to do the physical fitness? And if it's the physical fitness, what would you like to do? Are you a walker? Like, would you like to find a bike? There's programs out there. Would you like to learn how to run? If that's the case, then pick a day and say that you're going to start, right? Mm-hmm. Today is, the 9th. And so pick a day, say that you're going to go out. It could be 10 minutes. If it's a run for 30 seconds, walk for 2 minutes. Run for 30 seconds. People think that it's such a big deal. One of my clients had said to me, I had been putting off going to weightlift because it's been 20 plus years. I had 2 kids, 20 plus years. I really didn't remember what I was doing, how to do it. You kept posting on Instagram. I saw your stuff. And then I just reached out to you and I was like, yeah, reach out to someone, for accountability, a personal trainer. Tell them when you're starting, tell them what you're doing. They're there to help you. Everyone in the world is there to help you. We are not here to put you down. Not one person's going to say, that's a dumb idea. Don't be healthy. No one's going to say that. Not one person.
Gonna say it. I love it. We're talking muscle, mindset, and mission with Amy Weglarz. So for those that don't know Amy, when you follow her, just her attitude and her energy is infectious. It's like the Energizer Bunny over there. And if you don't get excited by watching her, something is wrong with you. You just mentioned your client. So Amy, part of the journey for them is confidence. How do you help them with their confidence? You gave us a glimpse in some of the things, but what's your approach?
Yeah, so my approach is definitely habit stacking. So a lot of the times the confidence is built in that consistency. And I'm sure you're going to hear this word several times in the podcast today. But what does your morning look like? Are you rested? Are you anxious all the time? Do you have a lot of stress in your life? Are you drinking a lot of caffeine, right? Like, think about some of those things to start your day off. And then what are some things that you're eating? Are you having protein? Are you having fruits and vegetables? And then drinking water. So one of the first habits that I start with all my clients is, what is your water intake? If you're not drinking 60 ounces at least a day, we're going to start slow. So I have a client right now. We are about 2.5 months in. Her schedule is very busy. She works a 9 to 5. She's a dentist. It can be hustle and bustle, right? She doesn't even have time. So we talked about it. I was like, what would you guess? She goes, I might drink 30 ounces of water. I said, well, our goal is to get to 40, right? Like 10 more ounces. That's a sip a day. And we talk about how to get there. Just those small habits relate to exercise, right? Then we can get into exercise, then we can get into other parts of our day. But I think starting with one small habit and stacking on top of that is going to have that consistency. And with the people that are listening and following, right, that's free. Those habits, like, that's something that you can decide that you want to work on. And just because it doesn't go well one day, don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. And that's that mental fortitude.
I love that. There's just so many complications for some people. We call it food deserts, and they live in areas that are in food deserts. And how would you help them with making the right choices with the environment that they're living in, and the selection of food choices that they have around them?
I feel like this could be a very long answer because I have a crazy story, an interesting story, not crazy, interesting story. When I taught PE and health, we go into the health classroom. And this was a couple years ago. I wanted to do a test with my kids. I wanted them to do a project where they had to only go to Walmart to get food. Only go to Walmart. They couldn't go to any other store because Walmart is in most places. I would say Walmart, maybe a Piggly Wiggly, something like that, is in most places you can find a Walmart. The food choices are cheaper. And so I literally gave them like a 5-page list with prices. I handed it to them with, hey, if you were to get with your family, your however many people in your family, what is a meal that you would make according to the My Food Plate right at the time? And so they really had to dive in. They had to do math, right? I was incorporating math. I was incorporating reading labels. So that's what I would say is go to the place. We want to start with the protein and we want to get some vegetables. It is not that much cheaper. I would disagree because I went to a fast food place just recently. I did not think that it was any cheaper to go to a fast food place than it was to make something at home.
That is very correct. Yes.
I really, truly, I think you can get more bang from your buck. You know, you can buy the bigger chicken, it's simple, or even a ground beef. I don't care if it's 80-20, 80-10, 95-5. Buy something, make some ingredients with it, but just protein, vegetables, and then your carbs.
That's very important, everyone. Even though you're in a food desert, there are things that you can do to balance out what you're inputting into your body. And which is going to bring us to our next segue here. A lot of times what we eat do impact our health. A lot of the foods are chemically induced or laced or cleaned up or polished. And we're injecting so many things into our bodies, which can lead to so many modalities such as cancer. And I think you have been impacted by cancer in your life. So we're talking about strength with Amy Weglarz, and we're talking about the physical strength. And we want to touch a little bit on a different kind of strength. Can you tell us the strength beyond fitness and how cancer came into your life and impacted you?
Yeah. I would say a couple years ago, my aunt got diagnosed with cancer, and immediately I was like, hey, is she okay? And then the second thing was, should I shave my head? Like, if she loses her hair, I don't want her to be alone. I also wanted to take that from her, right? I'm can be very empathetic. Like, I want to take that pain that you have onto me. And my mom said, you know, just because she has cancer doesn't mean you have to do all these drastic things.
Yeah.
And so that was a good learning moment for me. And then recently, just in the last year, my dad got diagnosed with cancer. And I'm actually wearing my cancer t-shirt today that someone from the organization made. And we got diagnosed. Everything seemed to be, and it's prostate cancer. Everything seemed to be going normal, except for one small thing. He got his second blood work back and his PSA numbers were the exact same as when they took out the prostate. Like, how is that possible? And he is about to be 70. So, you know, most of the time testosterone is lowers as you age. Well, apparently not my dad. His testosterone was pretty high, and that can increase your cancer of growing, moving. And so that's what happened. And it got into his lymph node just a little bit. And so therefore, he had to go through radiation. And this was just this past August and September. He just got done last week with 8 weeks, 5 days a week of radiation. And we will find out in December if it is gone. And so through that, have this opportunity to take a passion of mine, which we haven't talked about yet, is bicycle riding. I like to ride my bike, and normally I'm a triathlete, but my friend says, hey, I've done this ride. We start in Greenville, South Carolina, and we ride all the way to Lewiston, Maine, and we do it in a relay style. Would you like to do it? And I said, how many miles is that? And, you know, the thing is, it didn't matter because the moral of the story was, no matter how difficult our training was, our ride that day, how many hills, mountains we saw, it doesn't matter because cancer is going to be worse.
Yes.
Having radiation.
Yes.
What we did was just a small glimpse of what someone with cancer goes through, feels, all the emotions. And so that was really like the second lesson that I learned, not just from my dad going through it, but really from the other people in this C3 Challenge to Conquer Cancer organization. Was what we do for 6 days of riding is nothing compared to their months of chemo or radiation. We can do hard things, and they face the battle. And so that was really powerful and really emotional for me.
Well, thank you for doing that. I was the recipient, to our listeners, of Amy got some miles in for me, and cancer is very difficult. I've had chemotherapy, I've had CAR T immunization therapy, I've had a lot of things. And in this recent March, I found out that I didn't just have one stage 4 cancer, I had 2. So there's 2 types of lymphoma, Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's, and I had both. And didn't even know it. And so it's just a testament to some of the things that we go through, and just miracles do happen. And when we have people like Amy and people like you all listening that support us, it makes the journey that much better because you're not alone. And so on behalf of all cancer patients, I would say thank you for that, Amy. Thank you for getting those miles in for me. And it seemed like it just put you on a different trajectory. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I felt super empowered, I also, let's see, I just felt closer connected to my dad in a way. He actually lives in Mexico. He had to come back to Illinois to do radiation. He chose to come back to Illinois due to the fact that we have some family and friends in the town. So he was able to stay with some people and have community. And in turn, I actually was able to go visit him for 4 days because I do have a fitness business, and so it's my own. So I'm able to take time off, which is another reason I was able to do this cycling event. And first of all, Tony, to you, like your battle and finding out this March, April that you had a second diagnosis, I can't imagine that gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching, emotional feeling that took to you, and then being able to harness that. And I think that's where fitness, there's so many things that we can battle, but fitness or cycling, we've been out where it's been super windy and you're just like, this was not the best day. Yeah. And then you're out on another day and it's sunny and 70 and it's just the best day. And I think that's life. I think that's people with cancer go through that. Days that are not great, days that are really good. And the last thing that's super empowering is I'm not really for a lot of like research and donating to cancer, because I think there's so many things that we can be doing better with our money towards cancer. And one of the things that was really empowering and impactful to me is the C3 Challenge to Conquer Cancer. Is they have now developed a whole wing in a hospital for research. I was able to see it with my own eyes, and so that also, just knowing where your money is going, people that donated to me and where that's going. And then just in 2024, they started their own research to keep, and there's so much into it. I was like, you're going to have to tell me the story again, to what I didn't realize, like how much money needs to just go into research. So they have numbers, and then every cancer patient's different. So, right, there's all these things that go into that. And so research is really, really important. Yes. So I'm sure I don't know, Tony, if you know a little bit about it, but I just thought that was really cool. And they work with Prisma Health, and actually Patrick Dempsey. And the Dempsey Challenge, like he does a lot. His mother passed away from cancer. So there's a lot of like tie-in that I think as a community, we do a great job, and we don't even know sometimes that it's happening, occurring.
Absolutely. That's awesome, amazing work. Cancer is very expensive. My CAR T therapy alone it's been 4 years for me. It was $1.5 million. And so my foundation, we had a program this weekend, and the oncologist that spoke, I think is now up to $3 million. And so everybody's not getting that type of care as novelty care. And to your point, with organizations like C3 and others we need those organizations and people like you to support those organizations that do real work that you can touch and feel, and not just whimsical that you read about and you don't really know actually what's going on. So we definitely thank you for that, and definitely thank you for your encouragement to all cancer survivors. And our thoughts and prayers are with your father, and our thoughts and prayers are with you to keep you uplifted and sustained to continue to advocate on our behalf. And so, we're talking about muscle, mindset, and mission with Amy Weglarz. Amy, what does sustainable health look like today? What is that?
I think it goes back to being consistent. My whole thing is 80-20. It doesn't have to be 100% of the time you're amazing, but 80% of the time you are, or 80% of the day you are. Or the one thing that you're not doing well at, maybe you eat pretty well. Maybe you wake up and you're not that stressed, but you want to do a little bit better with your exercise. Once again, find that habit, that one thing that you want to change to be better. So sustainability is waking up stress-free. Not everyone's stress-free, but stress and anxiety put a lot of strain on our bodies. And exercise is stress. Exercise is stress. It's just a positive stress. We deal with it differently. We get more endorphins, where the other part of it is anxiety, but learning to dive into that. And that is also a little bit now where I talk with my clients, like, what are we doing in our life that is not helpful? Are we dwelling on something that we can't control? I think I live my life like that. Like, things that I can control, I'm going to stress about. Things I can't control, or other people's actions, thoughts, like, I'm just going to have to let that go. And yesterday I did some yoga, like yoga and mind and breath work. Even if it's 2 minutes a day, right? That sustainability, that consistency. For me, I try to do yoga once a week. It's relaxing. It gets my muscles to stretch with all the other things that I do. And it just gives me peace of mind.
So word of the day is consistency. You've mentioned that word several times. I was going to ask you, there's a point where you have to get to that place. And it seemed like for you, it was the commitment and then the consistency to see it through. Am I right?
Correct.
And so how does, you do triathlons and you cycle a lot. How did you get into that? Was that just a progression from cycling, like in our community? Are you either going to race or you're going to do a triathlon? It's like a progression. So what was that like for you?
Yeah, it actually started with running first. So when I moved to Raleigh, I had no friends, and I was in my 20s and said, let's just join a run group. There was this 12-week running program through Fleet Feet, and they do something like that. Similar to this day. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. And you just meet, but you get to be around like-minded people, right? Like-minded people want to stay together. They want to stay committed. They want to stay with their fitness goals. So that helped me, even though I didn't even think it did. And so one of the guys that I met, who is still now my friend to this day, 14 years later, he had done a triathlon. He actually, I think, had done a couple of triathlons. He's like, hey, I got this bike. Do you want to go biking? So I'm biking a couple of times. He's like, hey, there's this bike group. Right now we found a bike group, started biking. And then a couple of us decided we were going to do this triathlon in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. That was in 2016. And here we are. I'm about to do my second full Ironman.
How about?
Yeah. So it's crazy. In 2020, during COVID, I said, I would never do an Ironman. My friend had done Ironman Lake Placid, and it's very iconic. And I went and watched him, and I said, I will never do this. This looks so hard. COVID hit. I was biking outside, running outside. I was doing all the things outside. I was so fit. It was great. And I said, you know what? I'm signing up. So 2021, I did my first one in Tempe, Arizona. And on October 19th, I will do my second one in Sacramento, California.
We're going to definitely be rooting for you, Amy. So
thank you. Appreciate
life has a bunch of ups and downs and highs and lows. What does Amy do when she's in that low place in her life? What do you do? Can you help us come out of that?
Yeah, I just had that on Monday. Or last week.
How about that?
Yeah, actually, it was last week, because I was like, wait, what is today? Yeah. So that happened last week. And I literally said to myself, every day is not going to be an awesome day. Every training day is not going to be what Amy wants it to be, what it looks like to be. And I might have cried. I might have been really upset how the training goes. And I also say to myself, this is ridiculous that you're crying over training.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you're in it, you just got to let it go. And so I let myself be in it for probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And then I said to myself, we're moving on. We got work to do. We got things to do. Tomorrow is a new day. And that's where, once again, like consistency comes into play, right? I have a program. I'm following it, right? I'm trying to follow it the best that I can. And it says tomorrow I have this. And I'm like, I just had the worst workout ever. Is it going to be bad again? I have my race in 3 weeks, right? I'm going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And the rabbit hole will take you over.
Yes.
That's where the mind wants to be like, no, don't go to the gym today. The mind will be like, oh, just stay in bed. You can't listen to your mind. You got to stand up, physically stand up. And I know one of your questions today might be, is your favorite, what is a book that changed your, it's the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
She's funny, crazy. If you've never read it, it is a great read. And it's 5 seconds. And I relate that to fitness. 5 seconds, get your butt up, stand up, get out of bed and go. If I am thinking about it, the other part of that is, and I tell this to my clients, if you think about it once, you think about it a second time, you should definitely go. Your body and your mind will know when you shouldn't go. You will be like tired. You'll not be feeling great. Like you will physically kind of feel it. If you're contemplating, that's your mind contemplating, trying to take over.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you got to think about it, go.
Yep.
Yeah. One thing I noticed with getting older, when we're younger, you're so impulsive. You don't even have to think about it. It's just like, I'm going to do it. But as you get older, it's like you get that thought, do I want to do it? And then you start thinking about, do you want to do it? So that is definitely a transition from being younger to older. We need to keep that same energy all throughout, right? We need to act upon, because if you have a thought and you don't act upon that thought, then that's emptiness. There's no value. There's no weight in that. But if you activate it, and the Bible talk about faith in that same way, right? It says faith without works is dead. So if there's no action involved in it, then there's no work. Then it's empty.
True. Yeah. However, it can go the other way. If the chocolate cake is calling you, don't go eat it.
Hey, that's a carb. That's a carb. You eat cake at the rest stops.
That's so funny.
God. Let's talk about some things that you find enjoyable. You like reading and traveling. Can you tell us a little bit about that, your reading habits? And if you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be at this moment?
Yeah, I do love to travel and I like to take my book with me. Traveling. I actually really want to go to South America. I want to go to Chile. I'd like to go to Argentina. It will happen. It will definitely happen. I checked off Greece, went to Greece this summer. And I enjoy it. I feel like that's what I spend my money on, that in triathlon. That's probably also why I'm going to Sacramento. Like my friend that was going to do this triathlon with me, which unfortunately is no longer doing it, was like, hey, I've heard, I've been to California. It's great. I was like, I've never been to Northern California. I would love to go. And come to find out, my childhood friend from high school lives there. So we're going to meet up and we're going to end up going to Lake Tahoe afterward. And so I also make fitness and travel sometimes together, right? Doing some biking. I'm going to do a triathlon, right? And then we're going to go hike. We're going to enjoy. We're going to relax. I'm going to have a glass of wine. I'm probably going to read and I'm going to sit in a hot tub because we got a hot tub.
It seemed like you find a lot of joy in that. What's the thing that you find most enjoyable? I mean, you like reading, you like traveling. You just mentioned you like sitting in the hot tub, but what is that one thing for our listeners when you're in that dark place that you can think about and reminisce on something that will bring you to the light that you just enjoy doing?
Are you referring to like when I'm running and it's painful? What am I thinking about? Or are you referring to
whatever it is? That thing that brings you joy. Like for me, it's playing the keyboard and I'll make music and sing and write songs. And that's a safe place for me. Or riding my bike is a safe place for me. That's where I find joy. You do
Yeah.
so many things. What is that one thing, and why is that important to have that?
I feel like I can think of a couple of things that all pretty much related to exercise, except for the reading thing. But running, I think being outside,
Mhm.
but I think running, because it's just me and the pavement. And if I want to walk because I'm running for, joy, or I'm not following a workout plan, like I'm going to walk. If it's sunny outside, like I just want to stand and get the vitamin D and be outside. So, for me, it's probably biking, running, even lifting weights, maybe outside. And then the last thing, when I just want to like stress relief and just kind of chill out, I like to read. I like to pick up a crime book, James Patterson, and that's really what I like to read. I read for enjoyment. It's kind of like watching TV. Like people like to watch TV. I'd rather kind of pick up a book.
That's a lost art now. With social media and everybody having things instantly available at their fingertip, I think reading is a lost art. And you being an educator probably think that as well. Like our society is just so inundated by so much input. But what are we doing to kind of slow those things down? Which is
For
a good
sure.
question too. Yeah, yeah. How do you slow things down, Amy? Do you
I have
just
to really work on that.
there's
I
no
have to
slow it
work
down?
on it. Sometimes I have to work on it. For me, and especially right now, right? I'm 2 weeks from out my race. So I just finished my last 3 weeks of hard training. And so for me, it's like a day. Like I look at my calendar on Sundays for the week. I look at my training. I also look at when I'm going to meal prep. I look at when I have my clients, and every day I feel like there's definitely some downtime, but sometimes it's not programmed. But I would say it's like a Friday night or a Sunday afternoon where I cannot wait. Like I'm almost looking forward to that time of doing nothing, having nothing on my calendar, having my time with family or friends. And so I really try to, I don't want to say program, but I try to make it mindful in my calendar, because I am so structured in my training, because I have fitness, so many fitness goals currently.
Mm-hmm. That's important. If our listeners are here and paying attention, we're talking about muscle, mindset, and mission with Amy Weglarz. Amy, let's you want to do a quick rapid fire? Let's do some
Sure.
rapid fire. So, morning or evening workouts?
Morning, for sure.
Why is that?
I'm a morning person. I am normally in bed by 9 p.m. No, I think just get it done, right? If I say I'm going to work out in the afternoon, I'm going to be like, it's 1 o'clock. Then it's 4 o'clock. Okay, when am I going to go? In the morning, I know that I have to be at work or with a client or ready to go by this time. So I got to be up and I got to be moving.
For our listeners out here, let's say they have a busy day, they're working hard, 9 to 5 or longer. How long do you recommend them working out? If earlier you said, hey, just commit to it and get started. What does that look like for them? How many minutes? What would you advise?
Yeah, there's definitely some research behind this, and personal trainers have their probably opinion.
Mm-hmm.
There is some research about 20 minutes, and is definitely better than nothing. The recommendation is 45 minutes, 4 to 5 times a week.
Mhm.
So that's what I would recommend. I see a 45-minute is great. 20 minutes, you got to be moving and grooving, and it should be more than just a walk, preferably, right? That's what the fitness business, the health industry would recommend. If you're doing a 20-minute workout, it's more of an interval type workout. But, I think a 45-minute weight session with some stretching is where.
You heard it here. We want you to move. We want you to move so you can ward off some of these modalities, such as high blood pressure or sugar diabetes, or all these things that come from stagnant movement. To Amy's point, just get out there and move, commit to it, consistency.
Yeah.
What's your favorite post-training meal?
I'm going to say two things, because
Yeah.
I've been loving the breakfast. I love eggs.
Yeah.
Like if I'm doing it early morning, like I made eggs before you and I chatted today, and I just love eggs. But I would say after a very long, and people are going to say crazy, like I did 5 hours on Saturday and then I did another 4 on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I love a hamburger. It's got cheese. It's got all the things. Just a big greasy hamburger, because honestly, I probably just burned 2,000 calories. I just love it. It's so good.
But they loving you right now that you didn't say avocado or salad. They're like, yeah, that's my girl. Where can I find her at? A big,
That
juicy,
80,
greasy
80,
hamburger.
20. That's
Look,
so funny. The
I
80,
gotta put
20
a
rule.
disclaimer in here. If you're not burning 2,000 calories, stay off that hamburger. Oh my God. What book has changed your perspective on life, Amy?
Yeah, I would definitely say that the 5-second
The
rule.
5 second.
It just goes back to if I am wavering, and that's fitness related, but that's also in life. I'm just trying, what happened? Companies, you can try a shake with 30 days and you can return it. Even if you've had 2 or 3 scoops out of it, they will let you return it and try something out. really just expanding what I love to do, love to help people, love community, and love fitness. So how do I do all three of those things most often? And as I'm here in Jacksonville, North Carolina I've actually been here just 6 months. My community is just starting to grow. So it definitely takes time, but I am enjoying it and really want to reach out to more people here in the community.
Well, I work a lot with disability in North Carolina, which is a nonprofit that works a lot with disadvantaged people in those type areas with disabilities and such. Definitely reach out if you want to talk a little bit about that. I can link you up. And also, you mentioned high rocks. Before I got sick, I was actually training to do high rocks. So now that I'm back on the men's, I'm back, getting back into the groove. You need a partner, hit your boy up, get us a little
I'm
team
definitely
going.
down. Facebook. One of those free resources is myself. On Mondays, I give less than 5 minutes. This week, I did 5 minutes of core. You don't need anything but you and the ground, maybe a carpet mat, and you got 5 minutes of doing a core workout. You can do that 3 to 4 times a week if you want. Next week is going to be next Monday. It's called Movement Monday. I'm going to do a Movement Monday